On the day of her mother's funeral, her fiancé was at a postpartum care center, taking care of that scheming woman who'd just had his baby. She swallowed her anger and still called him, thinking he'd at least show up, even if just to keep up appearances. But he didn't even hesitate before saying no. He said a dead person wasn't as important as that woman. Soon after, he even said that to reward the woman for giving him a child, once they got married, he'd spend Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays with her, and Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays with his wife. He thought that was perfectly reasonable, turning his fiancé into a public joke. She couldn't believe that for that woman, he wouldn't even give her the last bit of dignity. So she announced their breakup in front of everyone and cancelled the arranged marriage between their families. Then she turned and grabbed another man at the funeral, blurting out that she wanted him to marry her. The moment the words left her mouth, she regretted it. It was too impulsive. After all, the man she grabbed was a CEO of a huge company. Why would he play along? What she didn't know was that he'd been secretly in love with her for a long time. The man held her hand and said his family had a rule. A man can only marry once in his lifetime. If his wife dies, fine, but divorce is not allowed. Then he asked if she dared to marry him. She said yes almost without thinking. What she didn't realize was that this man was actually the one her mother had originally chosen for her, the real arranged fiancé. She'd just been too stubborn back then, putting all her faith in the man who once saved her. After the funeral, her ex-fiancé called, sounding totally unapologetic, as if the breakup hadn't even happened. He even told her to visit the postpartum center to see the baby, saying she was technically the kid's aunt. She reminded him they'd already broken up, but he just laughed coldly, asking who would ever marry her after being with him for 5 years. Then he added that he had her mother's belongings and told her to come pick them up. She went to the center in the end. The moment she stepped inside, that woman set her up. Acting all scared, she said she didn't want to come between them, then started muttering by the baby's crib, pretending to have postpartum depression. Her lousy acting somehow fooled him. He rushed to protect her and even threatened to smash her mother's keepsake. She tried to stop him but was too late and ended up getting tripped by that woman. Shaking with anger, she glared at the other woman, but her ex took it as provocation. He locked her in the bathroom and told her not to come out until she washed the other woman's dirty clothes. The mistress acted worried and asked if he was afraid she'd really break up with him. He smirked, saying she loved him too much to ever leave. Her heart went completely cold. She remembered how he once saved her from kidnappers, how she'd fallen for him and chased him ever since. But a few years later, he'd changed, constantly taking another woman's side, even having a child with her. He must have thought she was wrapped around his finger. Now, she was just glad she'd decided to marry someone else. Her ex happened to overhear that and thought she was bluffing. He scolded her for being petty, saying she needed to learn to be more forgiving. Even when she told him again the engagement was off, he didn't care. He just told her to study childcare so she could help raise the other woman's kid. She flat out refused and said she was moving out. But when she got home, she found the living room a mess. Then she realized, while she'd been taking care of her sick mother, he'd been living there with that woman. No wonder he never once visited the hospital. What made her angrier was that the mistress even told her to be grateful, saying if it weren't for her mother's death, she wouldn't have bothered helping. She laughed bitterly and called them out for being shameless. Her ex's face darkened, and he started yelling at her. She pulled a 1 yuan coin from her purse, tossed it on the floor, and said it was for him to buy himself some sense, then went upstairs to pack.